Good evening. I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome you to the school board meeting this Tuesday, August 3rd, 2021. The public is encouraged and welcome to address the school board at the hearing of citizens. If you wish to speak during the hearing of citizens, please pick up a card at the back of the chambers and print your name and topic clearly and return the card to our board assistant. Today is Linda. At the appropriate time, I'll call you up to speak. First, we have our Pledge of Allegiance, and we have today a guest in the audience that's going to help us with that. Griffin Wilkins Plumley from Troop 50. Approach the podium and the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
Thank you. Please follow me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Griffin is here today to cheer on a couple of his friends. One of them, some of us may recognize as a former regular at the school board meetings. That's Barrett Mancini and Edward Shen, who have both received the Congressional Award for the U.S. Youth, the Gold Award, which is presented after 400 community hours of service, 200 personal development hours, and 200 physical fitness hours. In addition to, they have to create and follow an expedition trip for one of their goals that they have to do. And I believe that Griffin went along on the Philmont trip that Bear Pros. And today we've got Heather Todd that's going to get from the teen court that's going to talk about some of the things that could Bear and Edward. And would you approach the podium over, not the podium, this over here.
I'm going to take this off.
Bear
Boys,
and
can you please
Edward.
join me? So Edward, correct me if I'm wrong, but you are from District 17?
Yes.
Okay. Or is it, do I have it reversed? District 17, District 16, and the only two students reversed? Okay. I had 50-50 chance of getting that right. And the only two students from this area to receive such a prestigious award. And they volunteered at Teen Court, and it's one of our proudest moments that you all got involved with hundreds and hundreds of hours at Teen Court to include the community service piece of this. So not only the physical piece, certainly the expedition, but that community service piece of giving back in our community, teens helping teens, and really making this community a better place, helping your peers have a second chance. Both of you are teen attorneys. We couldn't be more proud, and really it's a compliment to Sarasota County Schools that these two young men were chosen, and then really we're excited about receiving this award. So thank you so much for making sure that they're in a place that they can receive this award, and then just making it a big deal, because it really is a big deal. So congratulations, boys, and keep doing your stuff.
Barrett, would you like to give us a few comments on?
Pardon? I didn't actually catch one.
I know you're shy in speaking, but
I can just start talking about the award, I suppose.
Yes, that would be amazing.
Well, for my award, the Congressional Award actually begins between the ages of 13 and a half and 24 is the period in which you're allowed to sign up to get the award. To get the Gold Congressional Award, I believe there's a minimum of 2 years in each category. And I originally signed up at 13 and a half, and the first thing I began working on was my volunteer service hours at Teen Court, although I definitely exceeded the 400-hour requirement because I truly was dedicated to Teen Court. I suppose that after that, I began working on my physical fitness because, as you can see, I have a physical disability of cerebral palsy. And at the time around when I started considering working on the award, I had lost a lot of my physical functions, so it became a prerogative for me at the time. and my personal development hours were done in a number of locations. But I wanted to improve my public speaking skills, so I participated in speech and debate. And I wanted to give back to my community more, so I did that as well. The Congressional Award is the only youth award given out by Congress, and it has a total of 6 award levels. It has 3 certificate levels and 3 medal levels that are given. And I suppose, if anything, I'd want to encourage the teenagers of ages 13 and a half and above to at least sign up for the award, as you're only able to count any credit towards the award once you've signed up, and it's a relatively quick and easy process. So
Easy to sign up, but hard to earn.
Easy to sign up, but there are 6 levels of recognition.
And what was your
can receive.
Philmont trip that you did?
Yes, yeah, some of that was just because I was already, Philmont is achievement in air quotes for the Boy Scouts. It's not the same as the Eagle Scout rank, which I also have, but it's also a point of recognition that most Scouts pass around the table, and I suppose I wanted to be a part of that. Although at the time it was more about physical fitness, because once again, when it was time to sign up for those things, I was losing most of my physical function. So it was more of a shoot for the moon sort of thing, and I actually happened to hit the moon that time.
Yes. I heard some of those exploits from my grandson who was there too. Edward, did you have anything you'd like to add?
I think Bear did an excellent job of summarizing the purpose of the Congressional Award, as well as outlining some of his own incredible struggles and accomplishments in attaining this award. And there's not a lot I'd like to add. Mostly, I'd just like to say that in pursuing this award, there is a lot of development and introspection that you need to go through, but you also need to remember that you cannot do it alone. And there are many, many people I would like to thank for helping me. I could not have done this without any of their help. Among them, of course, include my family who are in attendance today, and of course, Ms. Todd, for being a mentor and an inspiration. Thank you all.
Now, if you could stand in front here and we'll get a picture for you.
Put mine down first. That behind. Yes, down there.
We had a workshop here earlier, so it's still set up for that, but. No, Barry, you can move in some. Well, now you're in front of me, Bear. Move over. And briefly remove your mask for another one so you can get that. Thank you so much. Superintendents Report. Do you have anything to bring to the public's attention tonight?
Yes, ma'am, Madam Chair, I do. Just a few items here. First of all, just wanted to let everyone know that we have back to school information. Obviously, that'll be coming out here very, very soon. We call this one Return to Learn, and you will see that with a letter from me coming out in the very near future. We've had to, as you probably have figured out, we've had to make changes to this probably every single day. There's something different that happens. And so we have Return to Learn and we have Return to Work, and both of those will be going out for parents and for employees and students as we get closer to the school year here. Also, I wanted to make sure everyone was aware that our final school-based COVID-19 vaccination clinic, the final one, will be on Saturday, August the 7th at Riverview High School from 9:30 to 1:30. So please take advantage of that if you are going to be vaccinated. Also, just wanted to let everyone know, we had summer school during June and July. I know some people think we probably sit around and read the newspaper at our desk or whatever, but we did have summer school all summer. And I want to thank the teachers and the administrators for doing a fantastic job all summer long, helping our students, especially those who maybe had the COVID slide or fell behind a little bit. We really did our best to accelerate students during the summer. And so thank you to our teachers. They did a great job. And then also I wanted to thank our food service workers. They worked all summer as well. And Sarah Dan, there's Sarah Dan right there. She and her crew, they served at 73 different locations all summer, giving food to our neighbors here in Sarasota County. And yeah, they did a great job. And I also want to thank All Faiths Food Bank for their food resources that are available all year round. And remember, next year, we are also going to have breakfast and lunch for free for all. Correct, Sarah? Yes. And so just be aware of that. But again, hats off to our food service people. They just did an amazing job. And as a matter of fact, we have a quick video I just want to show you from this summer.
Sarasota County Schools Food and Nutrition Department has wrapped up its summer program, serving more than 89,800 meals to students, campers, and children throughout the county. In its 24th year, our staff provided breakfast and lunch to 73 sites, the largest amount ever, and utilized 5 production kitchens and a fleet of delivery vehicles from Sarasota to Northport to get the job done.
Good morning, Dr. Asplin. How are you?
Sarah, good. How are you?
Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too.
We're at Riverview High School today. You're going to look at our summer food service program. You're going to see a production kitchen today. Then we're going to go to a weekly distribution for our families.
So we're feeding kids all summer.
We are feeding kids all summer.
Right,
Absolutely.
Let's go check it out.
Come on.
All right.
Okay. Last summer we did about 130,000 meals a month. This summer though, our sites are up. We actually have 73 sites, which is the largest summer program that we've ever had, with just the expanded summer school and different community sites and our weekly distributions. We have a lot more operations going on than normal during the summer months. We use some of our larger kitchens for production kitchens. We're going to see right now is them getting ready for lunch prep because we need to distribute meals.
So here at Riverview High School, you make the food and transport it to how many different sites?
So here there's 13 locations that will be going out the door for lunch today. Would you like to maybe do some summer feeding prep with the team?
That would be great.
Okay.
Let's do that. So what are we making here? It looks like salsa.
It's not just giving kids food. There's strict nutrition requirements. For example, our corn dogs that their kids are going to get, the actual coating is whole grain. We try to use as much fresh fruits and vegetables as possible. Plus, it's a balanced meal.
So it's much more than cooking the food and serving it to the students.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Last year, while schools were closed due to the COVID-19 pandemic, our crews were on the front lines, making sure students were fed. Building on the success of the drive-through model, weekly meal distributions were brought back this summer to help nourish hungry tummies for all children in Sarasota County, regardless of where they attend school.
So Sarah, what do we have here at Fruitville Elementary?
So this is our weekly distribution. With the pandemic, the waivers allowed us to do meals that can leave sites. So families sign up and they can get 7 breakfasts and 7 lunches. It actually comes with a menu.
Pizza roll, deli sandwich, turkey and cheese croissant, cereal bowl, breakfast bar. Oh, this is the side that shows the directions. All for parents to understand what's in there and what needs to happen as far as temperature and how to serve it.
We'd also like to thank All Faiths Food Bank, who's been a valued partner since 2014 in our mission to feed kids over the summer. They've helped provide substantial funds totaling more than $8 million, along with food, volunteers, and support in this collaborative effort.
All Faiths Food Bank provides food boxes and weekly backpacks that have snacks. This is some extra produce. It's things like potatoes, onions, that families can then add ingredients to and make meals for themselves.
Oh, yeah. Very nice.
So a lot of this is locally grown. Like I said, there's some eggplant in here, some squash. Our program is really designed for children. All Face gives us some extra stuff to help the families.
So what do you think about this?
I think it's great. I think it's absolutely wonderful that you guys are doing this for the summer.
Our staff has to come back and work, but they feel like this program is so important. Really, our entire department does.
Yeah, they're outstanding people, and to work all summer and do what's best for our students and feed them, and everybody's working very well together, and it's coordinated across the whole district. It's pretty amazing what you do, and I know you have fantastic folks.
We really feel like it's our part in supporting the education process, and so it allows us to be part of the team.
Weekly distributions ended on July 27th, and the last meals of the summer were served on July 29th. Our kitchen crews have a brief respite before they gear up for the start of school on August 10th. Thanks to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, breakfast and lunch will be free for all students again this year. It's one more way our school district is working as one for the success of all.
That's a good corn dog right there. So again, thank you to our food service folks and our summer school teachers for doing a fine job this summer. The last thing I wanted to just mention is, I know that we have controversial issues ahead of us. It seems like this whole year we have, and they're external. I think they're external issues outside of what we do in the schools every day and educating our students and working with them in reading, math, social studies, science. And then there's other things that pop up that are outside obstacles that we have to work through. And I know we've had this conversation before, and I just want to have it again. But it is, there are controversial issues, and no matter what decisions we make, and not everyone's going to be happy with them, okay? And we just try to work together the best that we can. But one thing I do ask, I really, really would like to see is, especially here at the board meetings when we're discussing and talking about topics and bringing our opinions, I know everyone cares so much about Sarasota County. It's a great, amazing, wonderful county in which to live, work, play, educate, and so, with that said, we have many different people in our county with many different perspectives, and we serve everyone in public school, and we want to hear what everyone has to say. We really do, and we take notes, and we try to do the best we can to do what's best for our students. And I just ask, when we're doing that, when we're talking about it, if we can just please be civil and respectful to each other, respectful to speakers, respectful to listeners, no personal attacks, stick to the issue, so that we can set a good example for our students. They're watching us. They're watching us every single day, and they're watching how we speak and what we're saying. And I think it's very important that we do that in a respectful manner. And, as we move forward with our strategic plan, our motto is going to be working as one for the success of all. Working as one for the success of all. That means all of us together, working together, collaboratively. That's the best way. And our students see that, and we do what's best for our students and our school district. So I just ask you to please keep that in mind as we move forward, as we make decisions, as we talk to each other, as we have comments. So please do that. I would very much appreciate it, and I hope we have a great night tonight. Thank you.
Before we move on, I received a letter from the FADS, the Florida Association of District School Superintendents, to inform us to officially notify the School Board of Sarasota County that Superintendent Brennan Asplin has successfully completed program and certification requirements for the Florida Superintendent Special Certification Program in accordance with Section 1004.47. So congratulations. And I know that's for district superintendents, and the Florida School Boards Association also has a certification. And I know that Jane already has that, and Mr. Edwards is on the way to getting his too. Were we going to have somebody from the health department on?
Yes, I think Mr. Drennan here.
He's in. He's on. Yep.
Michael Drennan, are you on?
Yes, Dr. Asplin, I'm here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for being here tonight. We really appreciate that. There he is. Madam Chair.
Wow. Nothing like seeing yourself in two different screens.
At the workshop this afternoon, we were discussing the a procedure for quarantines. And because there was a lot of talk about quarantines and how many students were quarantined and did that mean anything? And we're like, the school district doesn't control quarantines, the health department does. Could you sort of go over that as to what that procedure is?
Sure, happy to. So I think to begin, I'm not sure if everyone knows this or it's completely understood, but in the state of Florida, all health department employees are state employees, and we receive all of our guidance from what we call a central office, or essentially the Florida Department of Health in Tallahassee. And that guidance comes down to each of the counties, and then it's our job to implement that guidance and share that with our partners. So as it relates to isolation and quarantine, it's not something that's decided at a local level, it's something that's decided at a state level, and then it's our job to implement that practice. So essentially, much like last year, this year we'll be isolating individuals who are cases, so those people that test positive, and quarantining individuals who are contacts to them. There are some differences this year, primarily amongst those who are vaccinated. Individuals who are have had the vaccine and are completely vaccinated, meaning they've had 2 doses of the Moderna, 2 doses of the Pfizer, or 1 dose of Johnson & Johnson, and it's been 2 weeks since that last dose. Those individuals will not have to quarantine, unless, of course, they do develop symptoms. And in that situation, we'll ask them to quarantine and get tested, and we may make different recommendations after their test has been performed. But that is essentially how we'll be moving forward with this, much like we did last year in partnership with the district staff.
And it's not everyone in a class that has to be quarantined if somebody tests positive. It's just those people that were what specifics?
Right, so a close contact will be anyone who's been within 6 feet of a case for greater than a cumulative 15 minutes over a 24-hour period. And so that's what defines a close contact, and those will be the individuals, whether or not student or staff or teacher, that would need to quarantine.
So you get notice that somebody tested positive and they're a student or a staff member, perhaps even a parent, and you will notify the school. And the school keeps this information close, and we've been taught, how we have to keep this information confidential, but we do have to find out who sat near that child for how long. And so anybody has that information, it's confidential. So a parent can't ask a teacher who got COVID, because that's not something that the teacher can disclose. Is that accurate?
That's correct. That's not something, my understanding, the school district staff would not or should not share, and neither would health department staff. Won't share that information with anyone other than with the family. In the case of a student, if we knew their student was, or our child was exposed, we'd obviously let those parents know that their child was exposed. We wouldn't share that information outside of that family group. Part of our case investigation process is to identify contacts. That's why we work so closely with the district, and because of the students in the classroom. And then we share that information back with those district staff so that they know which students have been exposed or cases and need to quarantine or isolate.
And if a parent is exposed, their children will have to be quarantined also?
That's correct. Regardless of the setting. Sure, regardless of the setting, specifically we're talking about the schools here, but regardless of the setting, if an individual is a case, anyone who meets that contact criteria, that's not just contact criteria for the school setting, that's contact criteria for anywhere. So a child doesn't attend school at all, but a parent, it tests positive, that child would need to quarantine if they meet that case contact definition. Contact within 6 feet for greater than 15 minutes over a 24-hour period.
And we have about 40,000 students, and last year we had to quarantine 15,952. many of those students had to be quarantined more than once. So if you don't want to be quarantined, don't be next to anybody that's tested positive, or that would be the best thing. But also, if you are vaccinated, you will not have to be quarantined. Excuse me. If there are disturbances from the audience, you will be asked to leave. This is the first warning I'm giving you. The next outburst, we will ask them to remove you. So of the 16,000 that were last year, we probably should have a lot less this year because we're having, 40% of our students are vaccinated?
I
Well, you don't know
can't
their
speak to that.
students.
I don't know what the vaccination numbers are for students. But I can tell you that currently only those individuals over the age of 12 are eligible for vaccine. So you do have quite a large population of students who currently are not eligible to be vaccinated.
So if parents don't want their children to be quarantined and they are over 12, the best thing to do would be to get them vaccinated or somehow keep them safe from being with anyone who might be positive. So we, as a school district, don't have any say in that. That is something from the Department of Health. There was a lot of people that had questioned us on that. So I just wanted to clarify that it was Department of Health. Does any other members have any questions regarding the quarantines? Or what we have to do regarding quarantines? Another question that we had was, how many school-age children, you don't know whether they go to our schools or whether they go anywhere else, are testing positive now versus what it was before? Are we seeing a high rate of increase for students, school-age children being positive now too?
Right, so if we look at all children between the ages of 5 and 19, this is how the age groups are broken up when we look at these. We are seeing an increase currently amongst that age group on par with what we were seeing earlier in the year. So we're averaging over a 7-day period about 30 reported cases a day amongst that age group. And that's very close to what our peak was right around the first or second week of January.
What was the peak, did you say?
The date, it would have been the first or second week of January, and we would have been averaging at that time right around 28 cases a day over a 7-day period. And right now we're essentially right at the same number. We're 28 or 29 cases a day over the last 7 days.
And I know you don't have all the numbers for hospitalizations, but by and large, most of these children are flu-like symptoms, and I think the Sarasota Hospital said they had 2 currently in there, but that COVID wasn't the primary. Is that something that you're finding too, that they're not requiring hospitalizations?
Yeah, the vast majority of children have mild symptoms and do not require hospitalizations. Although much like with any disease, there are outliers that do have severe illness and require hospitalization or admission to an ICU.
Yeah, so if they have outlying other issues, this can aggravate them. Any other questions regarding children and that we'd like to direct to him? We see no more questions from the board, and we thank you. And I don't know if you want to listen to what some of the concerns of the community are. I can send you emails, or you can watch this later. But we appreciate you, and I know you've had a long day. Thank you.
You're very welcome anytime.
Now we will go to hearing of citizens. Because we have 24 cards, and if everybody goes for the whole 3 minutes, we will be here for over an hour. So if you can say it in 2 minutes, that's fine too. But please note that respect for divergent viewpoints and civility will be shown at all of our school board meetings, and whether you agree or disagree, you should listen politely and respectfully without making boos or claps or yays or anything, please. The board is here to listen to you and to conduct the business of the school district. This is not a time, for town square and public debate or political debate. We are here to do the business of the board. So if you could please keep your comments to the business of the school district, we would appreciate it. The school board is committed to civility and decorum in the conduct of its meetings. Please assist us in maintaining a civil and constructive meeting environment, confirming your comments to the issues, and refraining from intemperate, personal, or rude remarks. And as per 100.323 of Florida statutes, anyone causing a disruption will first be given a warning, and if the conduct does not stop, you will be removed from the chambers. I will call one person up to the podium out here and another one to please stand over here and wait so that we can move through these quicker. First is Lois Wilkins, and online is Eileen Green. So if Lois would come to the podium here, and Lois stand over here.
Good evening. My name is Lois B. Wilkins, and I'm a relatively new member of Sarasota County. I've traveled quite a bit in corporate moves with my husband and we live now in the Sarasota County. I'm an active volunteer in the community. My husband, David, and I make sweat equity and financial contributions to this community we call home. I am a descendant of maternal and paternal centenarians. One of the community organizations that I have recently been asked to serve on is the Library Advisory Board for the Sarasota County Council. I volunteer at the Betty J. Johnson North Sarasota Library, and I specifically am chair of the African American Cultural Resource Center as its chair, and we have a team of 4 members in the organization. We receive artifacts from Black citizens, white citizens, and other citizens from around the world, primarily from people who are moving here for the first time, or they are descendants of people who've passed on and they're leaving their legacy behind. Our library is proud to offer research and reading materials for playwrights, authors, poets, students, and teachers written about by Black people and authors. Also white and other ethnic group authors. Another position, I serve as volunteer education committee of ASALA at Booker Middle School, Booker High School, and Emma Booker Elementary School. My husband and I taught an African-American slavery, American slavery curriculum and Reconstruction course at Ringling Osher Lifelong Learning Institute. My statement and comment is this: I support and will continue to be a proud member of the contributions made by my ancestors, my family, and in this community where we now call home. The second comment is that after reading about the disagreements, uproars in our community, there is a serious, gross misunderstanding as to what critical race theory is and what it is not. Thank you.
Thank you. Eileen Green, and please, Kelly Maldonado.
Good evening. Our schools are supposed to be public schools, not government schools. Keep the government out of our schools. Children are not the property of our schools and the government, and should not be used like Hitler did and Hillary Clinton suggested to do. CRT is Marxism, pure and simple. Teachers should be teaching reading, writing, math, etc. How about teaching the Constitution and the 10 Commandments You have no right to be teaching sex to students at any age. That is the duty of the parents or their physician. It is not the school or the government's job to determine the health and the sexuality of your child. That is the responsibility of the parent and their physician to determine. As far as the mask is concerned, it is very dangerous to make someone wear it. The dirtiest part of the human body is the mouth. It contains more bacteria than your private parts. Wearing a mask will cause you to breathe in all the bacteria into your lungs that you expel. 2,300 years ago, Arabs discovered that forcing people to cover their nose and mouth broke their will and individuality and depersonalized them to make them submissive. Modern psychology explains it. Without face, we do not exist as independent beings. The child looks in the mirror between the ages of 2 and 3 and is discovered as an independent being. The mask is being used to delete individuality. He who does not know history is determined to repeat it. When you trade liberty for safety, you end up losing both. Thank you.
Thank you. If you continue to clap, I've given you one warning. If I see the same people clapping, you will be asked to leave. Kelly Maldonado and Sherry Finn, please be ready.
Good evening. My name is Kelly Maldonado. I am a parent of a rising first grader within the district. Last year, my child started kindergarten amid COVID, and I took great pride with the protocols put in place to keep him safe. I frequently expressed my comfort with the precautions, and he adapted without issue to wearing a mask and appropriate distancing. I want to thank you for doing such a great job last year. I do not have the same level of comfort going into the current school year. While I was looking forward to sending my child to school without a mask, it is clear to see that the situation has changed. COVID cases are rising, including more children than any previous spike. There were 12 children in the ICU at All Children's Hospital last week. I understand that the current legislation does not allow mandatory masks, and you may be limited in terms of precautions available. However, I do hope that you consider reasonable options to keep our children safe, including having fully masked classrooms available, including masked teachers, requiring masks if possible, or else proper protocols for volunteers, such as negative tests, or severely thinking about limiting the option of volunteers as we begin the school year. I would also urge you to talk with the Department of Health and see where we think we are with the current rise of numbers and the current spike, and if needed, consider a delay in the start of school so that we may make sure there are proper precautions. Sarasota is the #1 school district in the state, and our students' achievements and learning in science is a major part of this success. I ask that you listen to the science and follow the same method that we teach our children. Gather data and make informed decisions. The benefits of certain precautions simply outweigh the risks. I often tell my son that being a responsible person is doing things that we don't want to do and doing things that we need to do if the situation requires it. I do not want these precautions, but the need requires them. We need to keep our children safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Sherry Finn, followed by Steele Williams.
Yeah, you ain't yelling at him.
Relax.
Hi. Thanks for letting me speak. I don't really have a lot to say. I just want to reiterate maybe what Kelly said. I have a 6-year-old who's going to be entering school, and I'm very concerned about the COVID numbers rising and the inability to mask up and protect our children. They can't get vaccinated. And while some of us have chosen to do protection, I don't feel like going into school right now with everyone in a classroom is a great idea. I would ask that maybe we could have, as Kelly mentioned, a classroom for masked kids for parents who choose to do that, and have the other kids who choose not to be masked walking around. I feel like maybe something more fair, so everyone's kind of gets their way a little bit in the classroom. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Steele Williams, followed by Griffin Wilkins Plumley.
Hi, my name is Steele Williams. I attend school in Sarasota County, and the reason I'm here today is to address the disconnect between some school board members and teachers. Whether parent-teacher meetings can be recorded is about transparency and accountability, plain and simple. Why is transparency an issue? Well, whose school system is it? Doesn't a parent have a right to keep track of their child's progress within the school system? Recording directly helps that purpose. Does not the school system yearn for parental involvement? Parent involvement is directly tied to academic success. We all know this fact. Why wouldn't we all expect the school system to follow the path which is discussed at a parent-teacher meeting? Accountability is increased for everyone if recording of a meeting occurs. Memories fade and fail, and disputes arise as a result. Recording cures those issues. Remember, we are all seeking an educational system that benefits students. Why wouldn't everyone want an exact understanding of a particular parent-teacher meeting? Everyone would have a clear understanding about the work being done to improve the overall learning experience of each individual student. If I am working on a science fair project, I am given a syllabus or matrix to explain to me what I'm asked to be done or what I am graded on. Shouldn't meetings be the same for teachers and parents? If you record meetings without realistic goals and set for students and follow up with parents about those goals, aren't we achieving success together? Yes, because every step forward is progress. Yet, with no system for accountability, finger pointing occurs and concerns linger when the ball is dropped and no one wants to be accountable for the consequences of failure. Success in school provides the building blocks for success in life. All students need basic skills in math, English, science, and history. Our future depends on that. Let's work together towards success and get back to teaching these basic subjects with accountability. In closing, facts matter, history matters, English matters, science matters, and math matters. What doesn't matter are political agendas or making personal medical decisions on my behalf. Let's all agree on what the job description of teaching is and give our teachers and parents a voice. Thank you, Steele Williams.
Thank you. Please, no clapping, because I'd like to clap for the Boy Scout coming up. All right, Griffin Wilkins Plumley, followed by Elizabeth Wilkins Plumley.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Griffin Wilkins Plumley. I'm a student in the Sarasota County School District and a member of Boy Scouts America Troop 50. I understand that recently the state government has in effect tied the hands of school boards and counties on what they can do to protect their youth under the justification of parents' rights. I respect parents' rights. But we should also be clear that the most paramount right of a parent or of any American is the right to life and to the continued life and safety of their child. Any parent can attest to this fact. In this light, it is a serious assault on parents' and children's rights that they be given the option to either go to an unsafe school environment and risk bringing home a deadly disease at the very peak of the pandemic here in Florida, or B, be uprooted from their school, cut off from their friends, and put on an alien curriculum. To truly protect the rights of both parents and students, we should allow for an environment that is safe for children in school. The school board should pursue certain policies that could include delaying the start of the school year until Sarasota and Bradenton are no longer the epicenter of the national pandemic. To September 1st, for example. Historically, August is the worst time in Florida for diseases, and we need to wait the 4 weeks that the health director of the University of Florida has suggested to put the current spike in diseases behind us. Another policy would be separating unmasked children from masked children in separate classrooms with proper ventilation for unmasked rooms to respect the rights of all parents. We could also require teachers to wear masks and to get weekly tests. require visitors on campus to show either proof of vaccination or a recent negative test. And finally, I think that a ban on large indoor groups, in-person staff meetings, or training sessions should be in place at least while numbers are this high. I'm a rising senior. I'm on track to become an Eagle Scout this September, and I'll be taking 6 AP classes this year to get my best shot of going to college with Crestbridge. If I, my 10-year-old little sister, or my immunocompromised mother were to become sick during this critical period, my education, career, and life would be derailed. I know that there are hundreds of other students in my situation who are counting on what you, the board, decide to do to protect them. I trust that this board will take every necessary precaution that they can legally take to protect the students and parents of this county. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Elizabeth Wilkins Plumley, followed by Andra Griffin.
Hello, I'm Elizabeth Wilkins Plumley.
Please take your comments outside and try not to direct them to students.
Sorry, I'm Elizabeth Wilkins Plumley. I'm very proud to be this young man's mother. I would like to talk about parents' rights. I have a right to stay alive, and I have the right to keep my children healthy. And according to the Director of Health at the University of Florida, the only ways to prevent infection are social distancing, masks, hand washing, and perhaps delaying school opening and close contact until after the 4-week August peak. We have a problem in the South that's like midwinter up north, and that people are all inside in the air conditioning right now. And sending all the kids back together right now is not a good idea. Keeping my children healthy is also one of my rights. And I don't want to take college away from my son. And I don't want to take learning algebra away from my 10-year-old daughter, or the socialization that she needs and she hasn't had in a long time. I do not have a choice to homeschool. This is a false choice. My daughter would not be able to rejoin her school for years because of the policies where if she leaves, she has to requalify and come back in. It will literally be like 3 years before she could go back to school. My son would lose his senior AP classes and his chance for a scholarship to college. The option to mask is not violated if masked and unmasked students are separated, as in Manatee County. The basic statistics are: the chance of infection is equal to the rate of infection per interaction times the number of interactions. And this is calculated daily, not once. The chances are much like the space shuttle. Even if the chance of failure for a given launch is only 1 out of 65, which seems low, after 130 missions, it will fail twice. Math doesn't lie. My daughter, if she is forced to have 20 interactions on the bus daily, 20 interactions over 6 hours in class daily, 100 interactions in the cafeteria daily, she will be infected inside a week. Even if the infection per interaction chance is as low as 1 out of 1,000. Please let me leave you with 3 points, because my children have a right to a safe, effective education that you are charged to provide. The Director of Health at the University of Florida, the CDC, any doctor, anywhere, will tell you best practices are masks, open windows, ventilation, social distancing, and avoiding people and delaying school openings until September 1st after the peak in the southern U.S. The separation of unmasked spreaders from children following best practices does not violate the unmasked parents' rights.
Andrew Griffin, Florida activist, Manatee County. So a lot of people are talking about separating these kids. We know that's discrimination, okay? That's discrimination. You can't do it. It's unlawful, okay? I hold in my hand right here, this is an executive order from our governor, right here, signed. You guys cannot mask our kids anymore. You cannot discriminate against our children. It even puts in this order all the bacteria and fungi that they're breathing in through their mask. Okay? You guys will lose funding if you choose to force mask these kids again. So you need to think about that. That's money coming out of your pocket. Last time I was here, we talked about recall. For those that are interested, I brought copies of Florida Statute 100.361 for you guys to start working on getting these council members out of here. Earlier today at 2 o'clock, you guys discussed a strategic plan. A strategic plan about preparing a strategic plan. This is the biggest waste of time I have ever seen in my life. So, lastly, you guys cannot mask these children. You guys need to be recalled if this is the avenue you guys continue to go down. I feel for these people, but you can't go against the law. These people are wanting you to violate the law in the state of Florida. So you're going to have to make that decision whether you want to do that or not. But I can tell you, you're going to have people like me up here. You're going to have people like me protesting out in front of this building. Okay, you're going to have signs. We may even go to your house. So think about that. You guys need to consider this, because when you start seeing me at your meetings, you got some serious problems. Do you think I enjoy coming here from Manatee County? Do you? I don't. But I do it for the kids. I do it for the residents of this state. And I will go anywhere and everywhere to stop this tyranny. What you guys are doing is breaking the law. You're failing your kids, and you're separating them. You're telling them people that are masked are good people. The people that don't want to mask are bad people. That's not how you teach children. It's discrimination. I'm going to start pushing. I don't know what to tell you guys to make you guys realize that these masks are not working. We have been doing this for 16 months. Guess what? We keep spreading. You guys are getting vaccines. You guys are rolling out these vaccines. Guess what? People that are getting the vaccines are still getting sick. Nothing the CDC has told us has been accurate or correct from the beginning. And you guys are failing to realize that and acknowledge that. You teach children in your school system how to problem solve and how to critically think, yet you can't do it for yourself. So I don't know how to convince you that this stuff is not working. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. God bless you.
Hello. My name is Heather Huddleston. I'm here because I'm a former nurse, and I'm tired of the tyranny. I'm absolutely sick of it. I am born and raised here in Sarasota, and I do not like the way that Sarasota is going. I'm damn sure not proud of the way Sarasota is going.
Please watch your language.
Sorry, excuse me. Anyways, some facts about masks, all right? Because I see we have a bunch of people pushing for masks, and we have people pushing not for masks. I think what needs to happen is masks need to be optional per the parents, not per the school board, not per the government. They need to be optional per the parents, all right? But let me get into the facts about masks. They are more harmful for children's health than they do any type of good. They cause Ebola, they have found in them. They cause streptococcus. Let me keep going on. They cause hypoxia. What about the kids that have autism, have sensory issues? Are you really gonna put a mask on these children? Children learn by reading facial expressions from other kids. You are taking that away from them. Let them live a normal, healthy lifestyle. I just want to let you know, this COVID stuff, why hasn't anybody masked, or why hasn't anybody made a big hoopla to do about it with the flu? COVID is a flu strain. Everything the CDC, everything the WHO, everything they're saying is false, is lies. It's all political. Has nothing to do with people's health, and I'm sick and tired of the medical tyranny that's been going on. Big Pharma's pushing vaccinations. Don't try to push vaccinations on our kids, because we will show up at your houses. Mark my words. We will vote all y'all out. There's like 2 maybe on that panel that are worth keeping. So I'm just letting you know, coming from facts, they they have more harmful effects. The indoctrination that y'all are teaching our kids, the liberalism freaking ideology, is disgusting. That you can teach our kids what in the curriculum it was, let me teach you how to masturbate at such a young age. There has no business in our schools. You need to teach the Constitution.
No signs, please. No signs. No signs in the boardroom.
Trump won.
Ashley Cote. Debbie, Ashley Cote, and then Debbie Mason. Just for clarification, most of the things that they said we were doing are not happening in our district, but go ahead, Ashley.
Evening, everybody. So it's been a couple meetings since I've had addressed you guys, but there's been some things that are, it's kind of weird tonight. I feel like the roles have been reversed. Last year, we were saying, unmask our children, let us have our classroom, let us have our unmasked teacher, but now, and we were ridiculed for it, but now y'all want it. It's just a little, different. So first off, with the workshop today, I was a little disappointed in the discussion of vaccination cards, of volunteers needing to be screened before going on campus. So right now, at this point, I got a welcome email from my son's school, and it says no volunteers are allowed on campus. I'm not allowed to have lunch with my child. So who chose that? Because I asked that. I did send an email to Dr. Asplin and the parties at B, and now I've heard from the workshop that we're getting this pamphlet. Should have gone out a couple weeks ago. I know things have changed, but you could have at least gotten the basics to us. This is a week until school starts. What are we supposed to do with our children? How are we supposed to prep children who have disabilities, who have issues, who want to know what is going on with school? My son said, I get to go to school. I don't have to wear a mask. Because he can't do it. It's harmful to him because of his sensory issues. We've had to buy special material, and how it fits on his face has to be different. But yet here today, we hear other parents saying exactly what we, the non-maskers, have asked. So why can't we come together and figure out how to make this happen, where everybody's happy, to where we're not standing here for hours and hours and hours on end? But you also wanted to discuss about public comment too. Please don't take our right away. That's not okay. I believe Mr. Duggan said that clapping was a sign of our First Amendment rights in our workshop today. I believe he said we could clap, number one. So also...
Excuse me, that's against our rules. I don't know, Mr. Duggan, did you say they could clap during our meeting against our
Make sure
rules?
I have my time, Ms. Turnline, please.
I think that we need to be concerned about the level of disruption more than the underlying act.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
Okay,
Go ahead.
I guess we'll go back to that because it is quoted that you said our First Amendment rights was for clapping. So if you want to decide what you want to do for public comments, please do it. I've been asking for it. You're cutting people off at the door. When's your time frame? Because every meeting it's different. Every meeting. Also, if you want to specify certain subjects, fix your cards. You're getting my personal information. Why can't you figure it out? Period. Now, why can't we snap? Why can't we clap? What's wrong with that? Why can't we do it? As long as it doesn't disrupt everything, why can we not do that? Also, why are you sitting here telling and giving warnings to only certain members when others are clapping too?
That's right. That's right. Thank you. Debbie Mason, followed by Sylvia Ciampa.
Hi. So as a citizen, a parent, a grandparent, a staff member, I feel like a broken record. There have been some parents that have said they didn't want things to change. They were comfortable before when they thought there was going to be masks. I have friends, children, grandchildren who have heard you say earlier in July that there weren't going to be any masks and now considering other options. That's not fair to them either. Obviously, as we all know, there are still very different opinions, and not just different opinions. You can have somebody speak from the health department. I could bring in somebody else that says exactly the opposite. We cannot say science is on one side because it's just not. You can't say science and then say you will allow children to choose their sex. That's not science either. I think the bottom line is it comes down to parental rights, and that you should have volunteers in the schools back like normal. You should have kids be able to be back in school. And this whole talk about separating being vaccinated or unvaccinated and threatening, if you're not vaccinated, then you're going to be quarantined. That's ridiculous as well. The threats are wrong. To say that people that don't want the vaccine or don't want a mask on their face somehow makes them not caring about other people. How about it just means that I trust in God, and that I trust that the school board has never been responsible for the 100% safety of my children. If that were true, I would have never sent my 3 adult children to school. They could have gotten in an accident in a bus. They could have gotten in a fight at school. They could have gotten sick from the flu. If we want 100% safety, we'll stay home for the rest of our lives. That's not what I want for myself or my children or my grandchildren. Again, this has to be parents deciding. It has to be staff members deciding for themselves, volunteers deciding for themselves. It should not be mandated in any way, shape, or form. It shouldn't be that we're bullied or shamed into making some medical decision that I would not feel comfortable in doing. And again, as a substitute teacher, I'm not going to come into the district if I'm going to be quarantined and told that I have to leave because I was near somebody.
Thank you. Sylvia Ciampa and John Wilson followed up.
Good evening. I am not a parent nor a grandparent, but I am a concerned citizen and taxpayer, as well as a former preschool teacher. I've been attending these meetings regularly for months now and am appalled that even though parents, grandparents, and concerned citizens and taxpayers like myself have expressed their concern and outrage over what's happening in these schools, it is being met with indifference. Our governor has been very clear about no mask and vaccine mandates and not teaching CRT, yet he and the wishes of the concerned are being dismissed. As a former preschool teacher, one of the most important things children will learn beside academics is socialization. How can a child socialize when they're masked and told to keep their distance? And now if they're not vaccinated, they may be quarantined. There is no healthy expression of emotions, which results in frustration and sadness. They are being isolated. There are more cases of depression in children than ever before. You're teaching children to be ashamed of their color of their skin, as well as teaching gender identity, sexual orientation, America being a racist country, communism and socialism, and other subjects that do not belong in school. Academics are being pushed aside. You can call it whatever name you want, but you're allowing it. You discussed at the last meeting about mental health professionals coming into the schools. Are or were the parents privy to this? None of this should be allowed without consent. The so-called mental health professionals would not be needed if these children were unmasked, not have to deal with sexual issues that have nothing to do with academics, not learn division, not be ashamed of their skin color, and respect and love of this country, God, and each other. There's been a lot of discussion tonight about the right to life. Does that mean everyone or who you deem deserving? Thank you.
John Wilson, followed by Linda Weinrich.
All right, first off, I want to address those three ladies that were here and they were talking about, hey, my kid should be in a room full of other masked kids. Well, last year, my two children were masked all year long. And you know what I was told? Homeschool. So if they're still here, you take your kids and you homeschool them like I was told last year. And I count on all three of you to tell them the same thing because that's what I was told. Now, let's move on to the, I want to get with Dr. Aspen on this whole, the things on the DJ case. And no one wants recording. They don't want it. You know, anybody that does anything right never has a problem with recording, okay? If you do your job, personally for me, if I was in part of that program, I would want the recording so I could go back and say, hey, did I miss anything? You know, the people that don't want it, mediocre at best. We don't need them in our school district. When I sat here today, I sat through the workshop, and I noticed that Jane and Shirley and Tom all went to the thing to make sure we're an advocate for people who want masks or whatever else you wanted. You know, I didn't see any of that last year out of you three. So what I'm saying now is all you don't want to address anything from last year, but now in this meeting, we want to address everybody's issue that we need to have our kids masked, we need to have them separated, you need to be vaccinated. I'm not, you know, we're not out here. We don't want that. The majority of us don't want that. The people that you advocate for are a small group. But I have realized one thing, that you haven't heard me all year long. But now I figured out how to be heard. What I need to do is come out here with a group and then go ahead and stomp that referendum right in the ground. You want your 1 penny millage? Boom. I'll get a bunch of people and we'll stomp in the ground for about 60 million. And then guess what? You'll be like, hey, that John Wilson guy, maybe we should listen to him every once in a while. So I guess that's what it's going to have to be. You know, money talks on my side.
Linda Weinrich, followed by Alicia Crawford.
I'm Linda Weinrich. I've lived in Sarasota since 1968. I came here right after I graduated from the University of Florida with a degree in banking and finance. I worked in the banking industry for 50 years downtown. I ran one of the large bank trust departments for 15 years and hired and fired and so forth. I've listened to a lot of the things going on. I do care about our school system, about our teachers, and about young people. And another part of my life, which has a bearing on what I'm going to say, is I'm a military brat. And one of the things I've learned is, you know, fear is a terrible thing. It can really destroy everything good, whether it's teaching or whether it's just living life or anything else. There was a president that said the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. My dad, during World War II, signed up and to fight along with his 6 brothers, and he was in the top 10% of his class, so they made him a flight instructor. This was before radar. His job was to teach as many people to fly and do aerobatic pilot training without ringing out, so to speak. My dad has told me many stories. One time, one of the first crews he took up to do solo flights, they were up having a wonderful time, and he realized that clouds had come in and there was no visibility to the ground at all. He prayed and asked God to help him, and God opened up the clouds, and he said, we're going in on this field, and they all landed. Well, my dad had a lot of stories like that, and I share the feelings of this other woman who said, our life and times are in the hands of the Lord. We can't go around being scared of everything. Your primary focus is really education. We spend way too much time talking about a lot of issues, and I know there's a lot of crazy people that want to sue over anything, and I respect the fact that you all do care for young people, but we got to focus on education. Has to focus on education. Parents have to focus on character and putting the values in their children that they need to have and helping them to stand on their own 2 feet in this crazy world that we live in. So I'm not, you know, I'm not a radical person. I'm a person who is generally obedient to the law, respects the law, respects our country a lot. I'm a patriot. I love our country, and I love our history, and I do wish a lot more history and things were taught that I was taught when I was growing up, because I think young people today are missing out on a lot of things that they need to know. And there is communism slowly permeating every institution in our country right now. Just a little compromise here and a little compromise there, and the next thing you know, we won't have any freedoms. And people need to wake up. They're not aware of this. I recognized it beginning in 1980 when I saw our country give jobs to communist China.
Alicia Crawford, followed by David Wilkins.
The main reason I'm here tonight is to request for families with children that are health compromised that we can have some safe area for our children to go to school. Just anything really would be very helpful. I'm wondering if anyone has ever watched a child suffer from multi-system inflammatory syndrome. I have. Have you ever seen your healthy, active child spend 4 months on a couch, barely able to move due to fatigue and exhaustion? I have. Have any of you sat on a hospital floor holding a mother who's just lost her child while she sobs in agony? I have. If your answer is no to these questions, then you do not have a right to insist that my child has nowhere safe to go to school. I'm 43, and in my lifetime, I've been to more children's funerals than adult funerals. Once you experience something like that, the ripple effect of trauma and suffering felt by a community after the death of a child, your interest in your own rights and liberties tends not to be of particular importance at a funeral. In Florida, we have an entire population of children with a variety of underlying health conditions. These children are at a very high risk for MIS-C, which my child has had, and other severe illness. The damage to a child's body experiencing MIS-C is truly horrific. I have pictures to prove it if anyone would like to see. It is far more damaging than the discomfort or bacteria in a mask. Yet right now there is not one school in Florida that I could send my son without worrying that he is going to possibly be severely ill or die. Florida's Education Equity Act states that we must provide a safe place for disabled children to attend school. We need a place for our kids that are not healthy. I homeschooled last year, and my kids need to be around some other kids. They don't have to be in a huge school, but they just need to be around some other kids. I'm sending my son, and I'm scared to death. And I'm asking you to provide somewhere where these kids can go where we don't have to worry about their safety.
Thank you. David Wilkins, followed by Susan Rick.
Good evening. My name is David Wilkins, and I am the president of the Minnesota branch of the Association for the Study of African American Life and History, also known as ASALH. ASALH was founded in 1915 by Dr. Carter G. Woodson, the founder of Black History Month. I appear here this evening to lend my voice and the voices of the more than 300 members of our branch to this board's commitment to the teaching of African and African American history. This board, like so many other boards across the country, has been accused of condoning the teaching of critical race theory, a 40-year-old academic framework developed by legal scholars seeking to examine the effectiveness of the law as a remedy for institutional racism. Schools in Sarasota are not teaching critical race theory, as this board has consistently stated, but they are teaching the history of Africa and of African-descended peoples, consistent with Florida state law and the standards developed to enforce that law. The African American History Instructional Standards Guide, developed by the Commissioner of Education's African American History Task Force, provides the following perspective on the law. A close scrutiny of the Florida Statute 1003.42H requires instruction in the history of African Americans, including the history of of African peoples, and emphasis on the teaching of ancient African history and connections to African Americans. Manasota Asala enthusiastically supports the Commissioner's African American History Task Force and this board's commitment to enforce Florida law, to promote the utilization of the instructional standards, and to support school administrators, teachers, and parents who desire the very best comprehensive education for Florida's young people. The instructional standards invariably and necessarily touch on race in American history. Colonial America, enslavement, the Civil War and Reconstruction, Jim Crow, and the Civil Rights Movement are foundational moments essential to a comprehensive understanding of our country, and the moments that cannot be understood without understanding the racial dynamics at play within each of those moments. This, however, is not critical race theory. It is American history. Thank you.
Thank you. Susan Rick, followed by Larry Wilson.
This is my first time coming to this meeting, and there's hardly to say a word of the
Ms. Rick, could you put the microphone closer to your mouth?
Opinions of people and everything. My first time here, everything that I thought I would talk about, I don't really even care to. It's really sad to see so much division between so many people, and it's heartbreaking. I feel really sad that our county has this fear and so many things. So everything I was going to talk about, I'm not going to. What I will like to say is the answer is the Lord. He is the answer. To fix your eyes on Him, look at your hearts, and see the right thing to do. And He is the answer, because we're going down the tubes really fast. So, and I will say one thing too that I did notice is that how when one person was not allowed to clap, other people did clap. And that was not right, that you did not reprimand another person, no matter what side it was. There just has to be equal justice. America, we live in America, and it does have to be fair. And I'm a new person here. I haven't been here, but let's just do things equally for both sides and everything. Justice. And I will say one thing that my Sunday school teacher had said, and I thought it was profound. He said when he goes to a doctor's office and you check the boxes and it says, what is your race? White, black, Hispanic, whatever. And you know what he likes to do? To check human race. Human race. And I don't know. So everything else I was going to say doesn't really matter, because the bottom line is that. And for me, God is the answer. God bless America. It's on our money. And if we can all fix our eyes on Him and really search our hearts and come back to after 9/11, how we all pulled together. We pulled together. And people were kind to each other and respected and waved and everything. I don't see it here. It's really sad. I don't know if I'll come back, but I want to come back because I want to fight for just goodness, righteousness, the scale of justice. So everything I was going to say, I didn't, but
thank you.
That's it.
Alexis Spiegelman, followed by Marcus Spiegelman. Oh, I'm sorry, Larry Wilson, I missed you. I'm sorry. Then Alexis. Alexis, you can stand over here if you like, or sit down, but that's fine.
Okay, it's been an interesting meeting. I'm wondering, I've been to several of these meetings, and I'm wondering, when did you guys decide to backslide on your commitment to mask optional? Was that in a secret meeting somewhere? I mean, when did that happen? I was here at the last meeting and it was supposed to be mask optional, and now the next meeting, it's not. Come on, guys, you can do better than this. We don't deserve this roller coaster ride of ups and downs. Well, first, let me just talk about the health department. I really got a little advance notice on this because somebody sent me an email about it. The health department says that you need to show, they need to be able to show a need for vaccinating children. No, I guess not. Quarantining children is more difficult on the child than wearing a mask. You must agree. Otherwise, you guys all have to split and go in other rooms. Can't be together because you got to be quarantined, and see how productive that is. It's psychologically damaging to little children to be quarantined from a group. Why not just let, I saw a movie one time, it was a documentary when I was a school teacher, and it was an experiment where the teacher took some of the children who had blue eyes and segregated them in one area, and others who had brown eyes and put them in a different area, and they told the ones that were brown-eyed that the ones with blue eyes were not as good as they are. Okay? That's what you're doing. Same thing. When you're going to quarantine children and you're going to move them to a different part of the school, who gave you the right to do that? Certainly not the law. The drive to quarantine children who are not vaxxed is only for the purpose of coercing the entire population to become vaccinated. It's transparent. The American people get it. Governor DeSantis has recently signed a law prohibiting you from doing what you're trying to do, which is to find out who is vaccinated before giving services. And the new law, which I think you're probably familiar with, it says, a government entity is defined in section 768.38 may not require persons to provide any documentation certifying COVID-19 vaccination or post-infection recovery to gain access to entry upon or service from the government entity's operation in this state. I would like to know, how are you going to find out who's vaccinated or not? Are you going to ask them? Because that's illegal. And I hope that if you do pursue that course, that the governor, with all the might of the state government, will come down heavily upon you.
Thank you. Next, Alexis Spiegelman, followed by Marcus Spiegelman.
Good evening. My name is Alexis Spiegelman. I'm the Sarasota Chapter Chair of Moms for Liberty. I wanted to start off with talking about or going over one of the constitutional rights that we have in Section 1 of our Florida Constitution, and it says, all political power is inherent in the people. I also wanted to cover our basic rights. All natural persons, female and male alike, are equal before the law. And the executive order, whereas a right to normal education is imperative to the growth and development of our children and adolescents. Segregating students is not normal. Postponing the school start is not normal. Forcing your medical opinions on another individual is not normal or constitutional. Our Parental Bill of Rights says that all parents' rights are reserved to the parent without obstruction or interference from the state. According to Senate Bill 2006, an educational institution as defined in Section 768.38 may not require students or residents to provide any documentation certifying COVID-19 vaccination or post-infection recovery for attendance or enrollment or to gain access to, entry upon, or service from such educational institution in this state. So the suggestions you were making today, including not being able to clap our hands. And the oath that you took to defend and protect our Constitution and to uphold it, it seems to me that you need to reread it, because these are all constitutional rights and laws, and you need to obey them. Thank you very much.
Spiegel. I'm a taxpayer and a parent of a student in the school district. On a different topic entirely, I was glad to hear that you decided to postpone the vote regarding the Unite Us software platform until you could complete due diligence, the two primary concerns of which I had, one of which were contractual, and the second one was the right to privacy. The right to privacy is guaranteed and extends to things including access to my emails, my text messages, my phone messages, information that you put into a computer system. I bring that up because during not today's but the last week's workshop session, one of the board members indicated that they thought it was much less likely that a school system would be hacked rather than other systems. That is a feeling, that is not a fact. Here is a fact. 57% of all ransomware attacks in the last year were against K through 12 school districts. 57%. This year, $40 million ransomware attack against the Broward School District. They didn't pay, the data was released. I bring this to your attention because information technology is the way in which data is consolidated and released to the world, whether it's domestic or whether it's international. I encourage you to support your IT department with two main areas. One, just like we expect of IT service providers, I hope that you will provide funding so that the IT department can audit not only the technology, but the process to support the technology, not to find problems, but to look for areas of improvement. It's not okay that data leaks. That data can be used in ways which you cannot possibly imagine today. And secondarily, I'd ask that you support your IT department in asking them what additional resources they need in order to guarantee the privacy of the students, the families, the teachers, and the entire school district. Thank you very much.
I'm sorry. Steve Gibson, followed by Kara N.
Yes, ma'am. Great to be here. Thanks for having me. I'd like to say it's nice to hear some students speak up here too. It's pretty good. My name is Steve Gibson. I have 2 kids in school. First off, congrats. Sarasota children have done awesome on the most recent FSA tests within the state. And I want to say good job and thanks to all that made that possible. Not just you guys, but also teachers, everyone who works everywhere. Awesome. Listen, I am here to ask you to do the morally correct thing when it comes to our kids. We're being asked to put our kids in direct line of fire, and it's not okay. This is similar to last year. It feels like it, right? But this is not the same. This is now virtually 100% a disease of the unvaccinated. You are doing what seems to be very little to help the least protected of our students, the kids that are in elementary school. They have not yet had a chance to have a vaccine. And that needs to be addressed. I hear a lot of wacky things here. Often, sometimes, these folks imply that you are ruling by fiat just because they and a few squeaky wheels that show up here don't personally consent to your decisions. Don't let them lead you to believe the community does not stand behind you. You were all elected to your positions by a majority of your community. Your legitimacy and moral right to use the levers of government are lawful and justified. You can do what is legally possible to the best of your ability, no matter how you got to do it. Do it. You are definitely ruling by consent, and it is time for democracy to work for us. So please, stiffen your spine. Many of these folks are just bringing in a culture war that doesn't belong here and does not benefit our kids. COVID has become one of the leading causes of death in our country in one short year, and it continues to be so. Inaction is not a choice. So I am asking you to fight for every COVID protection there is, especially for the still vulnerable 5 to 11-year-olds, at least until they're able to get the shots. Hopefully that's just a few months around the corner. Keep our fingers crossed. Maybe short term, I don't know. Until then, all these other folks, they can roll the dice with their kids all they want, but I do not want my child in that test tube with that awful experiment. Please. I'm aware that perfection may be difficult, but the importance of the effort is priceless. Just use the power the community has already given you. There have been so many David versus Goliath stories throughout history. Your actions now can change our course for the better. I am sure of your moral certitude here. So, as the great Elvis Costello said, bring lawyers, guns, and money, probably a lot of lawyers, and make this situation at least buy us time or save lives at the most. Thank you.
He's not going to talk. I'll talk for myself. This is my first time here, and I am disgusted. Disgusted. I was going to read this, but you know what? There's no point. You are clearly politically biased. You make me sick. I am ready to pull my honor student out of this school board, out of this county. How dare you, Shirley? Yes, I'm calling you by name. You didn't want to clap for the little boy over here, but you want to clap for the boy over here? You are sick. I am tired. I'm telling you right now, we're coming for your seats. Yep. We are going to come for your seats. If we have to recall you, we will. Here's the deal. We're going to take back our school board. We, the people. Do you understand that? No?
I hope everyone pays attention.
You are infringing on the rights of our children, the rights of the community. You're urging people to put a non-FDA approved vaccine into their body. I was injured by an FDA approved vaccine. But you don't care about anyone else except for the ones that fit your political agenda. So you know what? You can kick me out. I'll keep coming back. I am done. So are all of you.
Zach, followed by Ron Springman. Is Zach here? Ron Springman, followed by, it looks like there's two Ron Springmans, unless it's Ronald and.
Keenan Springman and a Deanna Springman.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Are you Mr. Springman? Do you want to speak?
There's a Keenan Springman and a Deanna Springman. I'd like for my children to talk first if they could.
Okay, Ronald Springman and Deanna Springman, apparently, and then Mr. Springman.
They wrote these on their own. I asked them if they wanted to wear masks or not wear masks. They voiced their opinions to me, and they wrote it down.
So we're going to hear from Deanna first? Okay.
Hi, I'm 8 years old, and I have a letter I would like to tell you why I like masks. I like to wear masks because it keeps me safe. I ask my friends, my family, and everyone to wear masks so they can protect themselves and their loved ones. When I eat, I want to be 6 feet away from the other student at lunch. I don't want my parents to get COVID because they love me and I love them. I ask everyone to wear masks, be safe and healthy. I ask the teachers to wear masks so they can be able to teach children. I ask everyone to wear masks and be healthy and safe. Thank you.
Thank you,
What they
Deanna.
told me yesterday morning.
And then Ronald?
No, Keenan. He's my son. They're both high honor roll students.
Thank you.
Straight A's at Venice Elementary, and have won writing awards and
But the public won't be able to hear you until you're into the microphone, but go ahead.
Hello, my name's Keenan and I'm 7 years old. I have a letter to read for you why I want everyone to wear a mask. I want to wear a mask because I want to stay safe and don't get COVID. I want people to wear a mask because I want them to stay healthy and don't get COVID. I want our teachers to wear a mask because I want them to teach and stay healthy. I want my parents to wear a mask because I want them to cook for us and we can go to school. I want our classmates to wear a mask because I want to play with them and to let them learn from their teachers. I want to stay 6 feet apart when I eat lunch. I want everyone to wear masks because I want them to stay healthy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm next, I guess.
Okay, Dad, do you have something to add?
To what he just said?
Mic up.
To what he just said? Well, I'm going to read my statements here.
Please go ahead.
I'm going to read a letter that I wrote to the President. Dear Mr. President, I am a 74-year-old Vietnam vet with 2 kids attending Sarasota County District and am very concerned for Florida children. I know you are aware of our Florida governor who restricted mandating masks in schools and signed an executive order for a parent's Bill of Rights. Letting parents, regardless of their ability to properly raise a child, giving them free rein to do as they wish with their children, even if it may be detrimental to their health and well-being. The Delta variant has potential to mutate and be more deadly not only to adults but also children. DeSantis, by rolling his political dice, is gambling with their health but not allowing schools districts to draw up guidelines as to staff and student masking. That decision is insane, especially when all of last year all students and staff were required to wear a mask and social distance when COVID was mildly infecting children, with which resulted in very few infections at Venice Elementary. But now throughout Florida, there are more kids ending up in hospital ICUs and more serious or deadly disease with potential long-term neurological and physical disabilities, which could affect their development. My son is 7, will attend Pineview, and my daughter is 8 and will attend Venice Elementary. Both were straight-A students last year, and both have voiced their concerns to us about attending school with teachers and students not masking. I contacted both schools about policies and was told they were allowed not to wear a mask and will not follow CDC guidelines, which is a government entity. And I can't even ask a teacher if she was vaccinated. HIPAA, which is ridiculous. Mr. President and Mrs. Biden, please use your powers in emergency executive order to mandate mass social distancing with barriers. I hope my letter to the President hits home with this body, and you will have the courage to go against this reckless governor and reconsider stricter CDC guidelines to protect the kids, or at least allow kids who are masked and separated from unmasked kids, including lunch. In other words, keep them separated. If a teacher wishes not to mask, then she should only teach those that are not masked. My neighbor, a nurse at Sarasota Memorial, stated the full ICU is overflowing into other areas of the hospital. Pediatric ICUs are filling up across the state. She told me that.
I'm sorry.
Could I continue on my son? He didn't use his 3 minutes.
We can't. We have to limit it to everyone. We have to treat them all the same.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
We will accept an email from you if you want to add to it. At this time, I would like to clarify some of the things that were said. The reason why, of course, this has all come up again is because of the headlines we're seeing in the paper. We are breaking all COVID numbers. They are higher now than they were last year when we put school off for 3 weeks, when we put the masking in place and all of those other things. But as they also say, this is a pandemic of the unvaccinated. So those of us who are vaccinated, there's only 10% of all of the infections right now are for unvaccinated. I'm sorry. Only 10% of the cases right now are for those who are vaccinated. 90% are for the unvaccinated. And they're telling us from the health department and hospitals that those that are getting the breakthroughs, they're similar to the flu conditions. And I've talked to some people that have had it. A lot of people say, I mean, there's a lot of things we can agree with. Yeah, it for most people, it is a lot like the flu. And when the flu in that season is going to be coming up, we get flu vaccines. I would hope people would think about that, not make that a political thing, and we get flu vaccines. Yes, I would say get a vaccine for COVID. If you want to protect your kids in school, parents, you know, that's one way you can protect them is make sure that you're vaccinated. But the quarantines, we've heard from the health department, we heard complaints about this. It is not something we have control over. The health department has the names of the people who are vaccinated. We don't have that. The health department does. Somebody mentioned that Senate Bill 2006. Senate Bill 2006 says that we cannot ask anyone. We can't ask our teachers, we can't ask students, and we can't ask residents if they've been vaccinated. We can't do that. But we can say to visitors, you can't come anymore because the COVID numbers are so high, we're afraid of what it'll do to our students. We're looking at ways of maybe making it safer for that. We don't want to stop all parents from coming in. And we were talking today, maybe if we reach out to the parents and try to tell, or those parents who want to come on that aren't vaccinated, you know, get a negative test to be sure that you're not spreading anything to the kids, or wear a mask. And if we don't see any problems with that, we can probably keep volunteers coming on campus. If we see numbers on campus spreading, we're going to have to come back and look at it. We looked at the numbers from last year. Even though the COVID cases for children right now are 30 a day. They're 30 a day, but they only have 2 hospitalizations at Sarasota Memorial. Most childhood cases are not serious. Last year, we had 564 cases in our over 16,000 elementary students. That's 3%. 5% overall. We had 1,300 for the middle and high school. But middle and high school students have the ability, most middle and high school have the ability to be vaccinated. So if the parents are concerned about those children getting it, of course, one way would be to either get vaccinated or get a mask. That's what it is. We will be watching. We are concerned about the elementary schools, as other parents are, but we've heard today. We will hope that we'll be able to make some accommodations. We don't know how many parents are going to be having problems when they come in, but we will try. But we cannot, because of the governor's order and because of the laws that were passed by the legislature, the Parents' Bill of Rights gives the parents the final say on whether they get a vaccination or whether they wear a mask to school. We don't have a say over that. We can't write a policy to say that. But we're hoping that we can start school and hoping that families will do what is right for the health of all of our students. That's what we can do. We can only ask that you do what's right. You talk to your teacher to see if things can be done. We're going to have the separations as much as we can. We will try try to make those accommodations. We hope you can come back, but we cannot at this time make any of those changes that some people want. We will be following, and if we see that they're spreading in schools, we could have an emergency meeting, but at this time, our hands are tied. Ms. Goodwin.
I just wanted to mention that HIPAA has nothing to do with telling somebody you have had the vaccine or not. That really is not part of HIPAA. But I also wanted to say that quarantining would be quarantining at home. So if a child gets sick at school or is having symptoms or has not been vaccinated, that child would go home to quarantine for a period of time. We have special provisions now to help that child with their homework and classwork while they're at home. And we'll give them the same amount of time they're out when they come back to make the work up and some tutoring with teachers. So we're actually building that into the plan because we're going to have to. There will be students that are required to quarantine, and that's not us, that's the health department. So I just wanted to mention that because there were some questions about that. How about Dr. Asplund? Did you have anything to add?
Just a couple of things. First of all, what Ms. Goodwin said about quarantine, that's exactly right. The health department decides on quarantining. And in the meantime, we will do the best we can with the plans that we have to help our students during that time of quarantining. Also, yes, we have a policy of optional masks. Masks will be optional next year. And we do not teach CRT, we teach the Florida standards. I don't know how else to say it, but that's it.
I see no one other comments at this time. We will move on to the agenda of the school board. Are there any changes to the agenda?
Yes, ma'am. There are 3 revisions to the agenda. An addendum was added to item number 8, the instructional classified personnel report. Also, item number 30, approval of series of related contracts with the Unite Us platform and the School Board of Sarasota County was moved to a future agenda. And then item number 29, the termination of Pineview interlocal agreement was pulled from new business for further discussion.
I move for approval of the consent agenda as amended and presented.
Second. Bridget Ziegler is home ill. We are going to be taking voice votes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Move on. We move to the...
It passes by.
Oh, I'm sorry. It passes 4-0. Now we move to the new business.
I move for the approval. Let's see, which one do we have left? Move for approval of the contract between Venice Performing Arts Center and the School Board of Sarasota County, Florida, known as VIPA.
Second. Excuse me, did we keep the SCAT one on?
There is, I'm sorry, let's see, item number 27, the interlocal agreement between Sarasota County School Board be approved as presented. That is the SCAT.
All right,
agreement.
So could we go to number
That's
27 first? I'm sorry.
Sorry,
No, it's
I move item number 27. I move for approval of the interlocal agreement between the Sarasota County and the School Board of Sarasota County, Florida, as presented.
Second. This is an agreement providing low-cost transportation options to our students and staff while decreasing congestion and parking constraints at the campuses. Basically, free bus service.
For our students who go to STC.
Through the STC.
Right.
The all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It passes 4-0. Now the item 28.
I move for approval of the contract between VIPA and the School Board of Sarasota County, Florida, as presented.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The Item passes.
I had a comment about that.
We have a comment before. it passes.
I will just mention the comment. I don't think I said I, but I do agree. I happen to be on that board, and we are doing a yeoman's job of actually managing that theater in entirety for the school district. When that was built in what year? 2012, as a joint venture between the City of Venice and the school board. It was 50-50 to build the building, but there were a lot of things that didn't get put into the building, like microphones and, soundboards and all those things that you need in running a performing arts theater. So, and go by and need to be replaced periodically. So they're doing a yeoman's job. After the first year, the school said, I don't think we can run this, and that's when this nonprofit came into existence. And we're happy, as we're hoping to open this year, to take some tours. And if any of you would like to go on a tour, I can make arrangements to see that happens.
And it's a great partnership between the community and the school district, so that we've got this. We've got a better performing arts program facility than we would have had. Plus, it gives a facility to a lot of great organizations.
Yeah, we have the symphony. The Venice Symphony performs there in the chorus, and we're bringing in a lot of entertainers that contract people, like somebody that sounds like the Bee Gees or somebody.
I've been to some of those. Those are great.
Yeah, they're great. This year it's ABBA, my favorite.
Okay. We voted on that one already, didn't we?
The next two, Madam Chair, were the ones we pulled. 29 and 30 were pulled.
Are there any comments from the board before we adjourn?
I have a comment. I just wanted to say that we at Dark 30, Tom and Dr. Asplin and I were at the transportation's internal training, 7 a.m. sharp. And it was really great to see all the bus drivers and their administration there. And they're asking us to wave them out at 6 a.m. Next Tuesday, which we did last year. And we'll certainly go down and do that, Tom. You can do that before rowing. But they're very important to us. We're still shorthanded on bus drivers. If you know anyone who's looking for an excellent career driving a big bus, please send them on down. But it's really great to have been there with them this morning, and it was a great day to see them all in such an early hour in the morning, and wish them all well.
Mr. Edwards.
So quickly, I just want to say that as I've experienced working with this board, is everyone really does genuinely listen to the public comments, and I know that they work hard to try and find middle ground and compromise and so such. But having said that, I just think it's probably a good tradition for Dr. Asplin to, before we adjourn, remind people that we are working as one for the success of all.
That is correct, sir. We are.
Maybe we need to say that before we start.
That's the motto of our strategic plan, which our strategic plan is going to be awesome, by the way. It's going to be great. We will put that together and be able to follow that next year very, very closely to help our students. But the motto, yes, working as one for the success of all. Working as one for the success of all. Everybody working together to help each other out. Let's all come together in this school district and work together to make this school district the best possible district it can be and help our students be successful. Please, let's do that.
Dr. Asplin, I understand that we are putting back the COVID dashboards so parents can follow those numbers.
That is correct.
And the public, we'll all be watching.
We're entering that information into the dashboard right now, and it will be up and running very soon.
Hopefully we'll have good news for you. Our next workshop and meeting is going to be on Tuesday, August 17th. With that, we stand adjourned. Is it dark out?